Hey Hexers, my name is Vertvixen and I am so excited about HEX. I want to take you through the deck manager and show you how to build a custom deck so you too can fight against other champions in the world of Entrath. When you first log into HEX, you start on the landing page. From here, you can go to Play Games, manage your friends list, take a look at your collection, check your platinum or gold, and go to the store. To go to your card manager and build a deck, you can click the little treasure chest symbol on the navigation bar. Once you open up your card manager, you'll see your entire card collection in the top window on the screen. If you want to take a look at any of your packs, treasure chests, gear, or anything else, you can click on the Inventory Stash tab. Today, we're going to be building a Wild Blood Shinhair deck. Shinhair are an aggressive race of bunnies that are motivated by their desire to conquer. So let's build a deck centered around that theme. In the world of HEX, there are 5 different shards: Sapphire, Blood, Diamond, Wild, and Ruby. The Shinhair can be found in Blood and Wild. I'm going to use the filter to hide the other shards by clicking on them. I'm also going to visually choose to view the cards by large thumbnails, but you can choose to see more cards by small thumbnails, or you can sort them by text lists. If you ever need to look at a card up close, you can always right mouse click it to zoom in on it. Now that we have filtered out other shards, it's time to start building our deck. The first thing you need when building a deck are your resources. These resources come as shards, and for this deck we need Blood and Wild shards. These shards each give us 1 resource, gives us either 1 Blood or Wild threshold, and 1 charge on our champion. We're going to add 11 Blood shards and 12 Wild shards. In your constructed decks, 25 shards is a great start. Aggressive decks may want to cut a shard or 2, and controlling decks may want to add a shard or 2. Now that we have all of our resources, it's time to add the meat of our deck. This is going to consist of troop cards, basic actions, quick actions, and constants. Let's start by adding our first troop card, Boulder Brute. A troop card will do all of the grunt work. They can attack, defend, buff your team, and use their powers against your opponents. His name is located within this area. He costs 5 resources and requires 1 Wild threshold to play. Note that you don't spend threshold. Boulder Brute just asks that you have it. In this area is the card type. Next to the card type is his trait. He is an elemental. This symbol shows his rarity. The white color signifies that he is a common card. Uncommons are green, rares are blue, legendaries are red, promo cards are purple, and PvE only cards are orange. Located in this box is the game text. It describes any power that the card has. Note, not every card has a power, but if it does, it will be located here. Boulder Brute is special because he is socketable, but we'll talk more about socketing cards in a second. At the bottom of the card, we have Boulder Brute's attack on the left and defense on the right. To socket a gem, you click the empty slot located on the right side of the card. This will open up a menu where you can see all of the gems and their powers. Gems require threshold to turn on. I naturally could socket a wild gem because I have the threshold for it, but I do have access to the other gems as well. If I were playing Sapphire, I could give Boulder Brute flight, as long as I had 1 or more Sapphire threshold. I could give him speed if I were playing Ruby and had 1 or more Ruby threshold. Since I am playing Wild and Blood, I'm going to choose the Blood Orb of Hatred to give him Rage 1. To socket this sucker, you just click the select button next to the gem you want. The gem will pop into place, creating some amazing runic effects. This is how you know your card is ready to go. Another card type we want in our deck is a basic action. Let's choose Evolve as our first basic action. Like troops, they cost resources as well as require certain thresholds. A basic action card is an action that can only be played on your turn. Actions in general can be used to buff your troops, attack an opposing champion, or defend against their actions. For example, Evolve says that each troop you control gets a permanent +1 in both attack and defense. If your troop goes to the discard pile, returns to your hand, or is shuffled back into your deck, it will retain the +1 attack and defense. Next, but not last, and definitely my favorite, are quick actions. Quick actions, unlike basic actions, can be played at any time during the game, including during combat. I like to save them for my opponent's turn. I don't know about you, but I love the feeling of interrupting my opponent's strategy and beefing up my cards. Wild Aura will give your target troop a permanent +2 in both attack and defense, and give them Crush. This card is ridiculously amazing and will catch your opponent off guard. Finally, we want to add constant cards. They are similar to actions, but they stay in play instead of going to the discard pile. I want to add Wretched Brood to this deck because at the start of every turn, I'm going to lose 1 health, but I'm going to negate a Battle Hopper that goes directly into play. This card is perfect for the synergy of our deck because we want to create Shinhair quickly and overwhelm our opponent. We went ahead and finished building our deck. For our next piece, we have to select a champion. Every Hex deck has one, and you want that champion to have synergy with the deck you built. The champion window is at the bottom right of the screen. You can click the Select button to open up the giant list of available champions. Together, we have created a Wild Blood Shinhair deck, so I am going to use the champion Monica Shin. Her charge power creates a little Battle Hopper and puts it into play. This power will help us overwhelm our opponents quickly with all of our killer bunnies. I will select her and she will now appear in the champion window. Now that we have our champion chosen and deck built, we added one final component to complete this deck, and that is our reserves. When you're in a tournament and playing against an opponent, you will play best 2 out of 3 games within the match. Between the individual games, you'll have the ability to take cards from your reserves and switch them into your main deck to better answer any threats that your opponent may throw at you. For example, if your opponent has a lot of flight troops and your deck currently has nothing to answer to flight, you will want to put cards that beat that strategy into your reserves. Adapt to your opponent's deck and win. Well, our deck is complete, our champion is chosen, and reserves are done. It's time to save our deck. To save the deck, you go into your deck manager, click the gear, and finally hit save. And that's it. You're now ready to go out and challenge your fellow Hexers in Entrath. Alright Hexers, now you all know the basics of how to build and save your deck. If you want to learn more, visit www.hextcg.com. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in Entrath.